Hello, everyone, and welcome to the spoiler-filled thoughts on Star Wars The Acolyte, Episode 6. I got some thoughts and a theory that probably a lot of people have, but I just want to jump right into it. This episode really makes me want to know more about Kamir and his backstory. Like, we spent about half the runtime with him, and like I said in my spoiler-free video, props to this show for taking who I thought was a joke character and making him the most interesting part of the show to me. So props to them for that. And I really want to know more about Kamir, his past, how he got the scar on his back, why he fell, and his falling out with the Jedi Order. And with that said, he's not once made mention to having a master after leaving the Jedi, which is something I want to know. What happened here? So I'm really starting to question if he's legitimately a Sith. Like, if he's part of what, in Legends, was referred to as the Bainite Sith Order, which followed the rule of two, a master and apprentice. Like, we know he wants an apprentice. And it wasn't uncommon for the Sith Lords, like the Sith Masters, to go without an apprentice for a little bit. They had to find one and keep everything going, but it wasn't uncommon for them to go without one for a little bit. So maybe he is, maybe he's not. And like we've seen in Jedi Survivor, you don't necessarily need to be a Sith to bleed your crystal red. So, I don't know. And I want to know. Like, I want to know more about this guy. Going in a more negative direction here, well, maybe not negative. The other interesting part of the show to me, Jedi Master Saul, I legitimately could not tell if that dude did not know that it was May up until a certain point of the episode, or if he knew the whole time and was trying to figure out what to do with her. Like, if he didn't know, it kind of makes it seem like he sucks as a Jedi. Like, you really couldn't sense that this was not Osha. I mean, yeah, like, and we've kind of already gotten that sense that he's not, like, the perfect Jedi. Like, he lets his emotions get to him, and he's really not handled this whole assignment perfectly. And again, that's one of the more interesting things about him. To me, anyway. So, I was really kind of confused there. Just for the sake of, maybe looking on the brighter side of things, I'm gonna go with, he knew it was her and was just trying to decide what to do with her. And, obviously next week he's going to tell her the truth about Brendock. And what happened there. And that will eventually carry us into the finale. Although, speaking of Soul, really convenient that his comms don't work when he's able to tell the Jedi, yo, there's a Sith! Really kind of convenient. Like, it's very obvious that, that's how they're gonna, avoid the Phantom Menace plot hole. And I guess that works, but, it's more the fact that it's, that obvious. That that's how, that's their excuse. So I guess, really should have brought a drink over here before I talk for 15 minutes straight. Although, speaking of this whole presumed eventual cover-up, for Nestra, the green-skinned Jedi, she seems really, willing to, try and cover all this up, possibly even blame Master Saul for what happened, all the dead Jedi, just to try and save face. Like, to not let the High Council know that there's something wrong, to not let the Senate know that there's something wrong. Like, she is very much playing politics here. So I wonder if there's more going on with her, or if this is just the show really trying to, like, hammer in the point that, you know, the Jedi weren't great, that they really just fell into, you know, being political. I don't know. I talked about my thoughts on this show's portrayal of the Jedi in my spoiler-free video. Go check that out if you want to hear it. It's towards the end of the video. So, we're going to get the truth about Brendok next week. At least I think we are. And I want to now talk as quickly as I can about my thoughts of what could happen for the rest of the show, and maybe a couple of things that I would like to happen. So, we've got Saul ready to tell May what happened on Brendok 16 years ago. The incident that left the entire Coven dead, that almost left Osha for dead, and that led to, not Osha, May, that left May for dead, and led to Osha being part of the Jedi. And then we also see Osha put on Kimir's helmet. And presumably, at least in my thought, maybe she'll get to see what happened too, like what happened on Brendok through a Force vision. Like, shown to, like, the dark side is going to, or not necessarily the dark side, but the Force is going to give her a vision of what happened at Brendok. And my thinking, because I'm thinking maybe they're going to take an old fan theory from Rise of Skywalker and use it in this show. And the characters that are on the light and dark side are going to swap by the end of this series. I think May is going to turn to the light. I think Osha is going to turn to the dark. I think that's what they might be going for. I mean, obviously they're pulling material from previous bits of Star Wars to add into the show. Like, you know, we've got essentially the virgin births. And we've got we may or may not have the dyad. Stuff like that. They're reusing concepts, so I wouldn't be surprised if they take a fan theory and use that. One thing I would, and so why I'm thinking that, you know, May is going to turn to the light, Osha's going to turn to the dark. I think when Saul tells May what happened on Brendok, I think he's also going to reveal that the Coven that created the twins, they had some rather nefarious plans for him. I feel like we're gonna find out that they were up to some shit too. But I don't think Osha is gonna get that knowledge. I think the dark side might twist the truth a bit and not show Osha everything. It's just gonna show her the Jedi doing this awful shit to her family and possibly killing all of them. So that might be how we get, you know, the switching loyalties. Not that May is a stranger to switching loyalties. Or, alternatively, May gets the truth about Brendok. And this is something that I want. I don't think this is going to happen. But this is something that I would want and what I would do. May's going to get the truth about Brendok. Osha's going to get Kimir's backstory. We're going to see what happened to led to him leaving the Jedi, becoming a Sith. I feel like it would kill two birds with one stone. You could have his tragic backstory still lead to Osha deciding to turn her back on the Jedi. We get his backstory. We get the backstory on Brendok, the full backstory on Brendok. That is how I would do this, since there is literally only 2 episodes left. And I think that would be really cool to do, me personally. Like I said in my spoiler-free video, I'm going to finish the series. I'm going to finish doing these videos on the series. I'm going to talk about the last 2 episodes when they come out. And maybe I'll give an overall thoughts at the end. Who knows? Anyway, until then, I'll see you guys next week.